Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sander Rijken. Welcome to the session about low-code and S/4HANA. I'm very pleased to see that a large number of people is joining us today.
Some housekeeping rules. Please put all your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer all of the questions at the end of this session. And if there are a lot of questions or we run out of time, we'll try to answer all your questions in our blog posting early next week. And please note that this webinar will also be recorded and will be made available alongside our blog posting next week. So we're innovation. We started about 3 years ago with a special focus on user experience. So we're quite experienced in SAP Fiori development, design thinking, and also in enhancing the user experience by implementing RPA and conversational AI. And we also look at integration. It can be system to system or just incorporating all kinds of data that's around us by incorporating sensor data. And we're also quite a big fan of full stack development, so we can develop in your SAP backend as well in your Fiori frontend. So we will be your host for today. My name is Sander Rijken. Wim Snoep will take over in about 10 minutes. And Tyler and Joshua prepared some nice demonstrations for you. And Matt Bekers from SAP, the Netherlands. So let's talk more about Fiori. SAP has launched already about 13,000 Fiori applications. So almost for every function or transaction in SAP, there is a Fiori application available. A lot of customers want to incorporate their custom fields within standard Fiori elements applications. And they're stuck in the question, should we make a custom application or should we stay at the standard SAP Fiori application? And during this session, we would like to answer this question, how you can enhance your Fiori applications with as less code as possible to meet your customer needs or your user needs. And it's all about adaptability, how to adapt a standard Fiori application to the needs of your business and the needs of your users. And first of all, there's personalization. Personalization is all the actions a user can take to foresee in their own needs, in their own personal preferences. So it's basically all focusing around the user. So not for your coworkers, just for you, the guy behind the screen. And what can you do? It's like all the things you see in the normal SAP transactions, like saving variants, adding filters for your standard reports, and also configure columns and all kinds of elements changing for your own personal needs. It's offered in most of the standard Fiori applications, and if you have a very neat variant, one of your key users can publish it to the rest of your coworkers. But as you can see, it's very little adaptability possible. So we need to extend our Fiori applications with more custom fields or more new behavior. And herefore we have 3 personas, and please note that this is in SAP ECC, not in S/4HANA. These are the possibilities you have in your SAP backend ECC. We have 3 personas: an SAP user, a developer, and a key user. And first of all, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, we have 4 layers of your Fiori application. There's your UI frontend, that is the Fiori application that you see with its fields, with its colors. And behind that, there's an OData service. The OData service is responsible for sending and retrieving data from your SAP backend system. And the OData service can be based on an ABAP or a CDS view. And of course, in the base, there is your SAP database with all its database tables. And how you can enhance your Fiori application. There are 2 ways to do so. There's a safe way and there's a more risky way. There are, first of all, there are extension points within your SAP view. So these are placeholders SAP provided to put in your custom coding in a safe manner. So in the next upgrade, they won't be touched, they won't be hurt by SAP upgrade or software. And also by redefining existing OData services. Here you can incorporate the mapping between your ABAP and your UI to send your custom fields from your system to your Fiori application. And to populate your Fiori OData service, there are bodies in place in which you can enhance in a safe way, and you can reactivate after your upgrade. And of course, there are custom includes in your tables in which you can enhance your database tables. And more risky is to copy just a Fiori application, enhance it to your customer needs. And when SAP launches a new version of your Fiori application with new functions and capabilities, you probably miss out on those nice new features. So if you have to copy them, program them by hand, or just to make a new copy of the latest Fiori application and make all your modifications again. And the same goes for overriding your OData service. If you override your OData service and SAP launches a new version of the OData service, it will be simply overwritten. And it also goes for your modification. After upgrade, you have to do the modifications by hand again. So we also strongly recommend to use the upgrade safe path instead of the more risky variants we showed here. This is an overview of the extension points that are available in a view of SAP Fiori. In this case, it's an approval overview. So you can see there are a lot of extension points available, so you can program all your wishes accordingly in a really safe manner and enhance your Fiori application accordingly. And also for the body implements, there are several bodies available for every Fiori. In this case, in Fiori application, in this case, it's an HR Fiori application, and this is the way how you enrich your OData service with data, and also you can submit it to the Fiori frontend. And please note that for all these changes, you will need a developer in place. And what are the capabilities of an end user? Please note these are quite limited. So it's only possibilities for an end user, a key user, is to drag and drop and rearrange some elements. And it's only possible in a smart form and object page context, because it really needs stable IDs to map your changes to your screen. And in S4, there are a lot more is possible. So I will hand over the screens now to Wim, and he will take over from here.
Thanks a lot, Xander. Thanks a lot. We see still these nice characters, right? You might think they are familiar. They are. Might be even a poll question today. S4. So on S4, we have a lot of Fiori apps, right? And we have real nice possibilities. And we actually see on this picture that the key user doesn't feel so limited anymore. So let's go to the next page. This is all about S4 adaptation extension. But the overall picture is like this, right? You have your S4, and you have the business technology platform, the renamed name indeed, which you can use for side-by-side extensibility, using the Cloud SDK, maybe using Fiori Apps over there, using HANA Cloud, Mendix to actually make further functionality, which is a side-by-side extension for your S4. Today, we're going to talk about in-app extensibility. So really what you can do inside your S4. You see various icons on the left, custom business logic, custom CDS views. A lot of things are there which are we will explain. Don't worry. The focus of today is this one, the left side. This is all explained by this picture. Looks pretty complex. Well, it's not so much. It's really a picture showing the different layers. And on these layers, we see the user interface, also familiar looking in the architecture as what Xander explained. User interface, OData services, the application, and the database table. In blue, you see what SAP standard is. In green, you see what you can do with in-app extensibility. And we go through one by one all the options. But you could add custom fields, so changing a standard Fiori app. You could even have a full new business object created. We will all show that in a minute. it's real quite powerful what you can do with these in-app extensibility scenarios and options. So what you can do, which is already shown by Xander, which you could also do already in a pre-S4HANA age, is to do a UI flexibility, drag and drop. So arrange a bit your fields on the screen with this adapt UI option. Yeah, we really feel that's a key user activity, right? A key user could do that. It's fairly simple. It's already quite powerful. You could even have, if you have done this, you could create an adapted app. So you could save it. You could save it to just use it for yourself, but highly likely you want to do that. But on this adapted app, you can actually save this app. You can use it for yourself. You can also publish it and have other users leverage what you just created. You're the key user, right? So maybe you want to define what all the users should have as their app. So you could have it as an app variant as well, actually keeping the original and saving another variant to be used for a certain business group or for a certain group of people. So several options are there. Then on the next slide, here we go. This is the custom fields and logic app. This is one of the Fiori apps which you get if you enable in-app extensibility. It's a certain role which you need to have on your system, which gives you a lot of apps, or a lot of them are named with custom, bringing you, for example, this app, custom fields and logic. It gives you the option to create new fields. So if you have a standard Fiori app, you could add fields which are already existing inside the context of this app, inside the servers, but not shown on the screen yet. That's real easy with the UI flexibility, but you can now also add new fields. And it's discussable if that's a developer or key user activity. You need to define a bit of elements to be used by users. So you need to define a type. You could even have a code list, which is a sort of lookup list of values, master data values. You could add this field. It will be added to your Fiori app, but it also will be added into any other place where this structure is being used. So it's really being embedded into the structure of this element in the backend. So just SAP handles it for you. The only thing you have to do is create this custom field. And the nice thing is you can just transport it through your landscape as being an extension. We have a quote actually from my key user doing this. I really liked it because with the help of custom field logic, he could actually, as a functional consultant, very easy to create fields logic on the existing views. And he didn't need any developer to do that. So on his CX on S4HANA, he really simple speed to be able to do it and well, focus on other things because you fairly easy add these new fields. We have prepared some demos for you. One of the first ones is actually to show what Xander already told about, personalization, but also about adding existing fields. So you will see this adapt UI mode and you will see personalization. Enjoy.
This is a demo on how to personalize your Fiori apps and use the UI adaptation mode. To showcase this, I'm going to use the Manage Supplier Master Data app. To retrieve our data, let's press Go, and let's press Adapt Filters. This brings up a dialog that lets us customize and add filters to the header. Let's click More Filters and select all these. OK. Now let's save and go. And there they are, the filters we just added. Now to use a filter, you can press the Value Help button or just simply type in them. There we go. As we can see, our filter has been applied. So the next thing I want to demonstrate is how we can customize our suppliers table here. To do that, let's head on over to the button with the little gear icon on it. There we go. This will pop open the View Settings dialog. As we can see, we already have business partner and role selected as columns. Now let's add city to that, and let's search for some more. For example, street. Let's add it. House number. Let's add that one. postal code, add that one, and let's click OK. And here's our table columns. Beautiful. So I quite like how I set up my application here. This allows me to do my work efficiently. So what I'd like to do is save it as a view. To do that, we can go to the left upper corner, select my filters, click Save As, give our view a name, now check the Set as Default option and click Save. So the next time I open the Supplier Master Data app, the view I just made will be the default, showing only the columns of filters I need to do my work efficiently. Awesome. The other thing you can do is save your view as a tile. To do that, let's click on the button in the right upper corner here, select Save as Tile. Now we can just fill out a subtitle. Click OK. Alright, tile created. Let's head back to the Launchpad. And there's our custom tile, ready to go. And clicking it will of course take us to our view. So making our own tiles is as simple as that. And it can really give us an even better user experience with our Fiori Launchpad. Alright, moving on to the next thing I want to showcase, it's the UI adaptation mode. First, let's navigate to the detail page. Now to turn UI adaptation mode on, let's go to our profile in the right upper corner. Select Adapt UI. UI adaptation mode, as the name suggests, allows us to adapt and customize the fields on our screen. For instance, we can pretty much move, add, and delete fields as we see fit. And when we're done adapting our UI, we can save it for personal use or even publish it for everyone to use. Alright, let's say we want to change the text on this label here. We just simply double-click it and start typing. Simple as that. Now to add a field, we have to click on an existing one and select the plus button. This will bring up a dialog with all the fields that are within the business context and can be added to our screen. Using the search bar will make it easy for us to find all the fields we want to add. For instance, house number, hometown city, postal code, and street. Okay, that's enough for now. And there are fields added to the screen. Isn't that cool? We can even drag and drop them to arrange them how we like. And we can edit the labels with the little pencil here. Alright, let's drag this one down. There we are. I quite like this. Let's save and exit. Get a pop-up saying the app will reload with our personal settings. Okay. And there we have it, our adapted UI, ready to get to work in style.
We, just for your reference, we developed a flow which can actually help you on deciding how to do things. So if you have a for your application, you would like to add a field. Let's not go through the whole flow, but there are options there. You might want to think about personalization. You might want to know if you are this key user, so you have these options. And if you are, there are several options. If the field is not available in the standard, you can add it as a new field. You can even translate a custom field to be used. And then you can decide to publish it for yourself, for others to see. So this might be helpful. We, of course, send out this in the blog post, in the recording, and the presentation to you, so you can refer to it later as well to see how this would work. But you see a lot of green, which means upgrade safe. And red is being upgraded risk. So meaning if you still extend the old way and just copying the app, you start changing, it might be difficult to get updates to this Fiori app. If you use in-app extensibility, it's not. It will just continue working. Let's go to the next page. Another feature is, and that's quite nice, it's sort of discussable if it's developer or key user. It's quite nice what you can do. You can generate custom business objects. Custom business object is actually a new entity, not based on any other functionality, but you create a full new object to be used with parameters which can link to other objects as well. It creates OData, it creates the CDS for you, and in the cloud, it even generates the UI for you. We'll cover this in a demo later. What you can even do is add logic there. You see it at the bottom in the screenshot. You have post and before save logic, which you can add to maybe validate if you have all the relations covered, if you have the mandatory fields done. You can have several logic there, even have calculations to really make a full business object. It's quite powerful. So you can also have custom business logic. This is sort of ABAP. Actually, it is ABAP, but it's whitelisted using whitelisted APIs. It's a web ABAP editor, so you feel a bit more limited, I would say, as ABAPer to maybe do things. But it's still ABAP, and you can program your logic. You see an example here, a business partner check on number. And you can add these two fields. You can add this to this business object, pre and post, before save, after save logic. So there are places where you can actually insert your logic and you program that in another way. Another thing to be able to do, that's just one of the other in-app extensibility apps, is CDS views. In CDS views, it's different than a business object because you define a CDS view always based on an existing CDS view. So you can extend or further drill down or leave out some fields from an existing CDS view, or maybe even join several CDS views with each other to provide you what you need. Based on that, you could also go to OData services being generated on top of those. So I could publish this as OData services and also start using these CDS views for my reference. So we prepared a demo for a custom business object for you to enjoy. But what will this do, right? If we make a new custom business object, what it does is it really creates tables, classes, the OData service. It creates the CDS view, the annotations. It creates a structure, the table type, so and including the table, the real persistence is there based on BOPF as a BOPF object. So that's all what it generates. So by adding this custom business object, by supplying these parameters, it generates this whole thing for you, which is real awesome. If you do it on-premise, as you see right bottom, we need the Business Application Studio to still make a UI, a Fiori Elements UI on top of that. If you would be using S/4HANA Cloud, then it's all generated for you. So even including the user interface. So imagine, right? Summer 2021, maybe we're all vaccinated, maybe we can travel. Beach clubs are open, you're going to the southern of France, 3 o'clock, you like a beer. And you really enjoy the beer you just got. So maybe you want to remember what you got, right? By using this custom business objects, we can actually create an app which can use to remember these favorite beers. And you can even add tasting notes. So let's go ahead and create this.
This is an app we've created using custom business object. Let's press go here to get a list of all the fine beers we've entered. Let's search for a shuv. Press go. Here we see all the details of the shuv, and by pressing edit we can modify each field. Let's change the tasting notes to a must-try beer for the summer. Press save. Go back. Now let's sort it on brewery. and filter on only the Belgian beers. There we go, we got a list of Belgian beers. Alright, let's show you how we created this app. We select Custom Business Object, select New, enter the name of our app, My Beer App, create. We select some standard features, which will automatically create some standard fields. By going to the Field tab, we can enter new fields. Let's call this brand. It's a text field and make it 30 characters long. And we set it to the first position. Let's add another one. Type. Also 30 characters long. Now we could create the brewery field. Make this 50 long. Country. "25 characters. And the type. Now here we select a code list. We have to select a code list here, and we already created this code list using the Custom Reusable Elements app. Now we create a website field, and we can select the web address type. And the tasting notes. Make this a long one, 200 characters. The last thing we need to do is select primary keys and press publish. Now the system is creating all the necessary objects to make this My Beer app work. So next to the tables, classes, and CDS views, an OData service is generated as well. All we need to do is activate this. So in SAP GUI, we go to the Maintain Service transaction, and then we select Add Services. Here we select co-deployed, and then we search for something with beer. And there it is. We select it, and then we press Add Service. Put it in local object, press OK, and there it is. It's activated, ready to be used in a Fiori app.
Thank you, Joshua, for showing this how this would work. So you actually have generated a business object having services. You just have to activate it only. So now let's go ahead and create a front end. In cloud, you would get it for free automatically. But now we have to use this Business Application Studio to do this for you. So Alexander prepared a demo of that. Let's go see this one.
Thank you, Joshua, for your presentation about how to create custom business objects and how we're going to create a Fiori application based on our custom OData service. And therefore we go to Business Application Studio. And the fun part is that our OData service comes standard with annotations, so we can make use of the Fiori templates that are available on the Business Application Studio. We go to Templates, select Fiori Application, select List Report, and now we have to select the destination of our OData service, in our case an on-premise SAP system. And select the newly created OData service, in our case the beer app, CDS view. Select the correct entity type, for your application. And now I have to give our project a name, a description, and we're ready to go. And now we can run our cool application. As we created a custom business object, there's currently no data in the data source, as you can see. So we have to create our own first review. Let me start by entering one of my favorite beers, the Afligem Triple. I'll put in the brand, the type, the brewery, country, the type of beer. Tasting notes, a very nice Belgian beer. A must taste. Description. And we press create. Our review is created in the database. We can also edit our review. And as you can see, the CRUD methods are implemented by default by the system. And this concludes our demonstration. We showed you how you can create your own custom objects and Fiori Elements application with no code at all. In our case, this cool and awesome beer review app, the must-have app for the summer of 21 when all the bars and terraces will be open. Have fun and good luck with this app, and I will hand over the presentation to Wim. Thank you.
Fun, right? Real fun what we can do with these business objects. You can easily make a full stack app. Services, backend, table, persistence is there, and even including the front end. Just to recap on what we just seen, right? We've seen custom fields. We discussed a bit on custom fields, how to add custom fields. That's a possibility, changing the blue side, the standard SAP. But also the left side, that's what Xander just demoed in this custom business object part. Generating OData, generating the application, ABAP logic, where you can even add your own logic by this ABAP GUI editor, web editor, and creating this custom user interface. So it's quite nicely and real low code, not much you have to do yourself here. Quite powerful. So some other things which are there are really a lot of apps part of in-app extensibility, I think like 10 or so. One of the other ones is custom reusable elements, where you can have pieces of ABAP web logic which you've written to be reusable in various other business objects or places where you would like to leverage this. Also code lists, those lookup fields with, well, maybe in our case, the beer types, they are reusable. So we have a custom code list, a reusable set of code lists here. So it's all pretty nicely designed by SAP, this extension possibility. And of course, we would like to debug, we would like to trace, we would like to see what's happening, even in this custom logic which we've written in the ABAP web editor. So then there's custom logic tracing, which we can use to our benefits. So let's do a bit of comparison. If we have the option in app extensibility, that's what we just discussed. That's a low-code solution. We can really adapt things and change attributes there. We can not really change what we generated. So when we want to change things, we need to change the basis and we need to regenerate. And we can add some custom coding, but yeah, well, for some cases it might be more limited. If you are on an S4 on-premise, there's the other option, the Andre Fischer option, let's call it like that, the Restful Application Programming model. It's quite nice. It's fully customizable, but it's really high code, so you have to write it yourself. There are some community efforts to do generation, but they are a bit limited still, not so nicely designed and done as what extensibility can offer. And remember, this is only possible, right, on S4 on-premise. So summarizing, extension principle, it's real nice. And if you are on this S4 cloud system, this is your only option. This is what you can do. It is quite powerful. You have to get used to the ABAP web editor to create your logic. and that SAP is still developing in that area. It's also a new effort to have auto-generated IDs there, which are be used in business objects. So that was not there yet, but now you get also this logic for free. So it is pretty powerful. And it starts with this paradigm, right? Keep the core clean. So on-premise S4, we still would like to use these principles. Instead of just start hacking your Fiori apps, you could look at this first thing, see what it can bring for you. To have in-app extensibility, change your Fiori apps, add some fields. If you need extra logic, you could consider this custom business object. And it's risk-free, right, for upgrading. That's a nice benefit. And we discussed a bit on these options, RAP versus in-app extensibility. Yeah, they both have their own use cases. If it's pretty and fairly complex, you might want to look at Restful Application Programming model, because that might benefit you or yeah, make it more flexible for you, especially this generation part, which is real nice, but hard to change. So both have their own use case, I would say. I think then we head over to Matt. Matt has some news for us to share.
Yeah, let me also share my screen. Wim, can you give me, please, some feedback if you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, no worries.
So indeed, Wim already showed something. It's been called adaptation and extensibility solution advisory methodology. But in order for me to explain a little bit more about that, I need to show this legal disclaimer. So this is functionality that we do not have yet. It's actually methodology, so it's nothing technical that we can deliver, but still it's in the works. I just want to give you a scoop on that this is coming and that this will probably help you in how to deal with extensibility. Many of you who are a bit longer in the SAP world maybe know this integration solution advisory methodology. This is actually a proven methodology. It's something that you can get your hands on. I mean, we have this jam group that you can onboard to. You will get a large slide deck, which is actually a PowerPoint slide deck, and that will help you to get your hands on how to deal with integration. The same thing, of course, can also be applied to extensions. I mean, if you've been in the SAP world for quite long, even if you're a customer or if you're a partner, if you're a developer, then you've seen probably a lot of things changing. I mean, back in ECC, we did things in all things in ABAP. We had WebDimpro. So what do you need to do at what point? How do I extend my applications? How do I custom develop an application? There are so many things out there right now that SAP thought it would be a good idea to actually structure this, to have a structured way to how to do that, to how to get to an extension, but also talk about bringing knowledge to you, the community, and also giving you a hands-on how to deal with that in terms of strategy, but also in terms of governance. Because as soon as you start doing your developments, of course, we also need to talk about application lifecycle management. So I'm going to run through a couple of slides just to give you a brief idea of what it is. And just to give you notice, I'm hoping that this will be out there somewhere in the summer, which is going to be at Sapphire. If not, then it might be a little bit delayed towards TechEd, which might also make sense because this is geared towards the more technical the technical community out there. So what it will do is it will give you a structured approach, it will give you guidance, it will give you recommendations. There is a list of questions involved, and of course you can also reach out to SAP to help you in setting this up. There is a lot of pre-delivered stuff that we are going to bring out there. It's going to have templates, it's going to have accelerators, and again, all that is out there. We're going to bring that out there for you to get your hands on how to deal with extensions and when to apply what kind of extensions. And in a similar fashion as ISAM, so that's the integration solution advisory methodology is using, we also have this maturity level. And this is actually what we do, what we bring to our customer. We're going to help them to assess what is your maturity level, how can we help you with what kind of practices, with what kind of governance, with what kind of tools, accelerators to help you move up this scale so you can get actually a more mature level of how to deal with extensibility. That's not only technical, so it also deals with governance, maybe something about roles mentioned here. So there's much more than just the technical part, which you guys from innovation covered. And then maybe the last thing that I will notice about this, so it is not a thing in itself. So this is how we will go through it. Use case evaluation. We will have to start digging into what are the requirements that I have. You will build a lot of things that will eventually help you on continuing on this journey, and every new requirement that comes in, you will actually be able to run through this methodology and then come up with what is going to be the best way of extending. How can I make sure that that my company actually can pick up this change, but also can keep grip on this change. And the nice thing is that both of these methodologies can be combined together. So depending on the requirement, you can either say, I'm going to move into the extension framework, or I'm going to move into the integration framework, where you can see that both of these methodologies are chained together. And as such, with both of them, if you encounter an integration scenario or you encounter an extensibility scenario, both of them can be covered through these methodologies. And that's it from my side.
All right. Thanks, Matt, for giving this well, shout out for some news upcoming. Waiting for Taggart, right? To
yeah, I
get
hope so.
started on that one as well. Hopefully Barcelona. I don't know yet.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice, right? That would be nice. Let me turn on my video again. It's past 5. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Thanks for your time. Hopefully it clarifies for you what the extension options are on an S4 system. And we discussed a bit on pre-S4, after, and in S4. So thanks a lot for joining. Thanks for joining this session. Any further questions, we will get back to you in email. And as discussed, right, you will get the recordings, you will get the presentations, so you can still enjoy all of these materials. Thanks a lot. See you in the next webinar.